It's nice that you consider me an expert. I've never studied music. I've never gone to school for music. I would have loved to. But growing up, I just always had an insane relationship with music and different kinds of music. So you speak about the psychology of music. There are so many examples I can give you that I've experienced myself when it comes to music. It can heal you. It can break you. It can make you go crazy. It can make you sad. It can make you happy. There's so many emotions that music can evoke from you. And man, it's a healing power. Scientists, I think a couple of years ago, they actually discovered that if you have a brain injury, right, and you've lost so many brain cells, there's certain music, they call it music therapy, that you can listen to that will repair those brain cells.
Interesting.
So if you ask me, for an example, movies or music, picture or sound, I will always go with my ear. All the time. I feel like it is the most important sense that a human person can have. So the psychology of music, it's such a broad topic. It's insanely broad. Like you listed there's so many things that it can do. There's so many emotions that it can evoke. So let's have a chat about it, guys.
I think there's a part where it says it could also cause you some sort of uncertainties in a way that sometimes does it become a distraction as well? And how does that happen? I mean, the fact that it's mostly of a healing process, but now it's the same music that can also destroy you in a process.
Anything that has a good side has a bad side, right? So if music can make you feel good and make you feel happy and make you feel whatever that is positive, it can at the same time make you feel sad or angry. That is why there's certain music. Remember back in the day, especially in the States, with the whole gangster music stuff, a lot of kids were taking that serious. And their brains were consuming it, and it ended up coming out in their actions. They ended up going out and killing people and robbing people. And who was to blame? Rap music.
I remember there was actually a documentary this one time, and I was watching this guy. I think he remember the 3 6 Mafia band? Remember this guy? And so this guy, he's like an ex-gang member. He's a Crip, Red and Blues. So this guy was explaining a scenario where when they would go out to do whatever, like to fight against another gang, they would sit in the car, listen to this very specific song, right, and get energized. It's like the song is like an anthem. It evokes something in them that even they don't understand. I mean, it's the same. We've seen the same concept with like the NWA crew, for example, the Compton movement. And again, so that was a very revolutionary movement because it spoke about police brutality. And for the first time, even at policy level, people were listening. I mean, we have history of a guy like Bob Marley getting shot. He got shot because he did a song called Zimbabwe. Remember that story? So the guy gets shot and he goes on stage the following day and somebody asks him and says, "Yo, man, aren't you afraid to lose your life?" And he says, well, evil is not resting. Okay. And so then why must I? He's not an army guy, bro. He's just a musician.
True.
Yeah.
So that's maybe the negative part of it. The fact that he, as much as you try to portray a message to the world through your music, and that's what happens.
And it's not that just the musician as well. It's there's layers to music, right? I mean, you find music that doesn't have lyrics that can still touch you and make you feel and evoke a certain emotion. There's the musician, and then there's the engineer behind that musician, the person that is composing all of the little components that go into a song, the producer, basically, right? The producer, there are certain things that they can do, that they can tweak to either make you feel a positive emotion or a negative emotion. The correct name, the frequency. There we go. They can play around with that frequency, and that frequency will make you feel a certain kind of way. So with a lot of artists around the world, since the beginning of time, it's all a plan in how they come out with their music and what they want their fans to feel and what agenda it is that they have, whatever the case may be.
Because think about it, who's the most influential human being on the earth? He's not even a movie star. Because we never have, concerts of movies. Like when you go to a cinema, you're not engaging with the actor or actress. You just watch them and they deliver. But with music, it's different. I mean, you've seen shows where an artist can make people do stuff. the greatest one yet was, to this day, is the highest viewed in all of human life. Michael Jackson at the Super Bowl.
Oof.
This dude, like, he jumps up, pop, looks this side. That crowd is dying. He is not saying a word. And they were playing keys, right? Again, frequency. For like a good 4 minutes, he's just looking that side. People are crying, some are fainting. 5 minutes later, he goes like this to the other. Bro.
It's a superpower. It really is a superpower, and I don't think we take it serious enough.
Yeah.
Especially in Namibia, unfortunately. I don't think we take it serious. I can't sit here and speak for anyone else, but I think that, in some societies at least, people are trained to associate certain emotions with particular of music, like either via movies or television because of the formula in which it was used in that certain piece of art, the movie, the whatever you call it. And you hear violins in a movie. You know what kind of scene is it? It's a sad scene, right? Or you hear that building, that building kind of classical music, something dramatic is about to happen.
It evokes some sort of anticipation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Battle scenes and all of that. And the feeling is not in the music per se, but what it can either encourage us to do or persuade us to do or even remind us of.
True.
And let me make an example of reminding us of something and how powerful music is, right?
Yeah.
I was a very young girl. I've never even told the story to anyone apart from my partner. But I was a child and me and my family, we got into a car accident, right? And my mom was the only one that succumbed to her injuries. And as we were in the back of this ambulance-looking vehicle, for some reason, the driver played this song. I don't know if you know this song, Never Burn Out by Sipho Mabuze. That song right there. And what he did is he put the volume on blast. And as he's blasting this song, I heard the last sounds that came from my mom. She was moaning and groaning, and my dad immediately yelled at the driver to lower the music. Ever since then, I cannot hear that song. I cannot hear it. I without feeling every single part of me inside completely shrivel up and just go absolutely crazy. I can't hear that song. And that is extremely powerful to me. I can't hear it without hearing my mom, right? I go about my days. Obviously, I'm grown now. I've gotten over it. I go about my days. I never think about that moment ever. But as soon as I hear the first note of that song, I'm as clear as day. I was about 6 years old.
Wow.
So the memory is associated to the sound.
Yes. It is etched in my brain. It is etched somewhere deep in my brain. But it only gets activated when that song comes on.
And how does that make you feel?
I mean, it's powerful. Back then, it used to make me feel sad. Back then, I would hear the song and I would absolutely lose my mind and cry and do all of that stuff. But now, for me, it's just like, I still don't want to hear the song. I move away when I hear the song. But to me, it's just, it's amazing. It's fascinating to me.
Would you play the song on your radio show? It's just an example.
No.
You wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't.
I mean,
I wouldn't. Not yet.
This is pretty much a sad
think about
story.
Every art form generally uses music or sound to evoke something. Can you imagine watching a movie where it's just dialogue and there's no sound? Like every movie. Like, why do you think you hold the edge of a seat in a horror? Is it because the visuals are scary? Or is it because they're building something up within you through sound? Let's imagine, like, what's the point of a squeaking door sound, bro? Why should it be? Imagine if it was just mute, it's just a door opening, no effect whatsoever. But like something about music, something about just sound in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I read this very fascinating piece of information that the highest budget, even in movies, is spent on sound. Okay, so music, they bring a whole orchestra in, and the orchestra watches the movie first, and then it's the director's job to direct the emotion.
Yeah.
Can you imagine watching like a sad movie with no strings, no sound, nothing.
Oh, these
It's not
horror
gonna make sense.
movies and,
You know what I mean? And I think, like you were saying earlier about this idea of a gender. I feel like agendas are alive, man. Like they're just seeking for some like a body to like attach themselves to, because it's difficult to go to a show and not feel, even if like it's I don't know, a Virisha show. There's just like something that the whole audience gravitates towards a specific feeling. We're all feeling this way. If I bring that the booty on the stage, we all are in this type of mood. And you say, is it necessarily because that's the mood you want to be in, or did the music set the tone?
The incidents that has happened and what transpired thereafter. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like you say, you matured. You know, you had to move on.
Yeah.
And then eventually, you still fell in love with music.
Of course.
You know, then I just read something about your brother who kind of influenced you as well, because he was into hip hop and he would listen to music and watch all this Rhapsody, BET and whatnot. And then you also got glued onto that. And eventually here you are a couple of years later back onto the scene. And I understand you can also drop bars and stuff.
I cannot drop bars. There's a common misconception that I'm
you
a
heard about
rapper. Yes, I've always heard about it.
We were about to
I've
put on a
heard
beat
the
right
rumor.
now.
No, I've heard that so many people think I
We're about
rap
to put on a
or
beat right now.
that I make music. I really don't. Maybe I should, guys.
So take us through a little bit, you know, just your upbringing in terms of, because there's something where you mentioned that your mother was half Chinese.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's what that's what it is.
Okay,
and
now let's get into it.
Yeah. Guys, you want me to explain my entire life story on here?
well, you got the whole hour.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I was born in Hong Kong, right? I moved here when I was about 2 years old. My dad had met my mom in Zimbabwe because she's half Chinese, half Zimbabwe. She was half Chinese, half Zimbabwean. So they met there, had their thing going on. We had a little thing going on. Went that side, came back, grew up here in Namibia. I will always consider myself Namibian, no matter what.
Yeah.
Always. After my mom had passed, it was just my brothers and I. And it was lonely growing up. It was pretty lonely. There was no... I have no qualms admitting that I have daddy issues, that I didn't get the attention that I would have wanted to get. So I had to lean on something, and that was music. So growing up, my brother would always blast his music in his room, or he would watch shows on BET, and I would be right there consuming all of this. So my first love when it comes to music will always be hip hop, because that is what made me fall in love with music. It was hip hop, the ciphers, the music videos, just the songs, the messages, everything. Even though I didn't understand what was going on. After that, I had moved to South Africa for boarding school. My dad got remarried, and classic stepchild.
All right.
Classic redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
Moved to South Africa, shipped me off to boarding school. And then I got exposed to South African music. And that was a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
And in that time, I'm consuming other things. I'm watching movies.
Yeah.
And I would always notice that if I'm watching a movie and a certain song comes on, I will stop everything I'm doing to find that song.
That's passion.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah, I will stop everything I'm doing just to find that song.
One space where you're like, oh my, who is this artist?
Exactly. Who is this? And back then we didn't have Google, hey? Back then we didn't have
So we do
smartphones.
whatever it takes, yeah.
We didn't have any of that. So I would literally just write it down and try my best to find it. There are some songs that I still haven't found to this day. The melody is still in my head. Moved to South Africa, consumed all of that music. And then I started getting into pop and other genres of music, experiencing other genres of music and falling in love with so many other genres. It was insane. I thought I was losing my mind because I was like, how can I like so many different things? What is wrong with me?
Straight from hip hop to the rest, yeah.
Exactly. Like the whitest of white music.
Folk music.
Folk music, Coldplay and things, like deeply obsessed with it.
Nickelback.
Yeah. So I would obviously credit my brother for creating that environment for me to, latch onto music. I will always give him that credit till the day I die. And the years have gone by. I've been exposed to even more music. A lot of people don't understand me when it comes to my music. Even my own partner sometimes is like,
what are you doing?
What are you listening to? And that's what got me my job right now as a radio presenter.
Oh.
It was my love for music.
Wow.
The variety of it too, yeah?
Yeah, first show I ever got was a Saturday show. And just how passionately I'd spoken to the person that was my former station manager who was interviewing me. I'd spoken so passionately about music. And right then and there, he was like, if I give you a show, what would it be called and what would you talk about? And I immediately listed out all of the things I would do with the show and ended up getting the job. So music basically got me to where I am right now.
I want to take you back to stuff that I was reading here in terms of what music, the benefits that it does. I'm going to take a song from Biggie, for example, Hypnotize, and then I will take Meatloaf, or let's say AC/DC, or Queen, I'll take Queen, AC/DC, and then I will take Peter Tosh, right?
Okay.
Totally different music genre.
Completely different.
But still classic, beautiful. Noisy, part of it. But if you listen to Meatloaf, I think the message and the melody and the strings, and this guy's voice is just amazing. And then if you listen to Peter Tosh as well, same thing. If you listen to Biggie, even though it's hip hop, like in terms of psychology of music, for you to fall in love with all these varieties, genres of music, and still be able to be at peace with all of them.
Whew. Biggie's Hypnotized, right? I can't speak for anyone else, but for me personally, it just makes you feel jiggy. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you are the person that you think you are. I could be a janitor. I could be a cleaner or whatever.
Yeah.
You put on Hypnotize, I'm going to feel like I am this person. As human beings, it's very common for us to place ourselves in the artist's shoes, or if you're watching a movie, place yourself in the character's shoes and become that person, even if it's just in your mind. And I think that's what it is. If Biggie on Hypnotize is saying what he's saying,
Biggie.
Can't you see?
Yes.
Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, and I just love your classy ways. This is why they're broken. You're so late.
Imagine being in one of these local clubs, right?
Oh, man.
And you just had a bad day, and that song just comes on.
Yeah,
Instantly, you will feel good.
Man.
Instantly,
Yeah.
It's the beat. All right, it's the engineering behind it. It's the lyrics as well.
Yeah.
And then you listen to a sadder song.
It's so
right?
insane how even if you've not heard the song in years, as soon as you just do that, the words just
They just come.
yeah.
They just come.
And then we get to Jodeci.
Jodeci.
Okay, that was my thing, because there are times that, sometimes they say you can do certain things, let's say when you're intoxicated. You could also do certain things when a certain song is playing. Have you ever been in a situation where you don't know what to tell a woman?
Yeah.
You are with her.
Yeah.
And there's that awkward moment where you don't have words. And then you slide on some Jodeci.
I want to freak you.
What are you talking about, man? Or finning,
Yeah.
You're sliding some of that Jodeci. And then I think when the songs start playing, somehow for a man, you sort of pick up some sort of, there's just something in you that just, spikes in you. It kind of just brings words out of you that you just feel like you want to tell this woman.
You don't
even know where the words are coming from, number one. And I think the song does the rest.
Yeah.
Because the song can play. And I'm not even saying nothing. I'll just go to her and then I will hold her from behind and I'll start kissing from the neck up. I'm not saying nothing.
That is because it hit a certain part of your brain, right?
Ouch.
It literally hits, even though you can't see it happening, it hits, you can't touch music, but it can touch you.
Yeah.
So it hits a certain part of your brain that makes you feel brave and confident and more forthcoming. So it automatically gives you that vuma to do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. Do it.
Even in the
You can do it.
military, right?
Yeah.
Even in the military, when these guys are like marching and stuff, they chant stuff. You know that, which is weird. It's like military. We're here to fight. Don't nobody care for singing, but why do you think they use music as a sort of a pattern? We're talking about, say, Menangili Nashima, for example. The history behind Menangili was, she was like Namibia's first hip hop artist, if you think about it. So she would come to a village and just chant. Then they realized when she would come to a specific household and sing and do her like rap or whatever, work was more effective, more work was done. And so when people would pound mahango, they were pounding mahango according to her pattern. So every time she would sing. If you listen to her stuff right today, she's speaking Portuguese and the Afrikaans, so she doesn't know Shwambo in there. And so people would follow her pattern to do work. And it's just like, now we might take it very lightly, but there's something about that, just that rhythm.
The rhythm.
And the thing is, she didn't even have like instruments. She just had people that would the whole time. That's crazy.
Music in itself is healing, right? You know, it's a healing process. Sometimes we don't really consider this part of the healing process when it comes to music. It's an explosive expression of humanity, right? It's something we are all touched by. No matter what culture we are from, everyone loves music.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes when we don't appreciate that sound or make that sound part of you as well, when you listen to Bob Marley, No Woman, No Cry, you know, and then you listen to the words that comes out of the man's mouth, it's now when you realize that it can actually change and heal you no matter the kind of pain that you're going through.
Yeah.
When a woman listens to the song, when a man listens to the song, you get the message at the end of the day. I mean, even our own Top Cherry, when she did Heaven is it Heaven?
Heaven is Calling.
Yeah. When I listen to just the melody itself without her having to sing, it gives you some sort of peace. So when it comes to the healing process of the song, I don't know your own experience. Have you been through any situation where you had to lean on to music just to feel at ease, to feel at peace?
Too many times. Too many times. I have a saying. This is my saying. I always say this at the end of my show. Let the music carry you. Music has carried me to where I am today.